Imagine a sound that is, well, truly otherworldly. Metallic, maybe robotic, but somehow it still feels organic. It's the kind of sound that really makes you stop and listen, like something from a classic sci-fi film, or maybe a really adventurous jazz record. Now, what if you could actually harness those kinds of sounds, not with like a huge wall of modular synth gear, but with just one single iconic pedal? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really going deep into the fascinating world of the Moog Moogerfooger MF 102 ring modulator. And this isn't just, another effects pedal off the shelf. It's become a cornerstone for experimental sound design, a piece of gear that's really shaped countless soundscapes. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack where this unique device came from, break down its pretty ingenious analog design, explore the huge, sometimes really surprising range of sounds it can make, and ultimately figure out why it's still such a sought-after piece of music history. It's this incredible device that somehow manages to bridge the gap between that classic, warm analog sound and some of the most extreme sci-fi textures imaginable. Okay, so where did this sonic marvel actually start? It wasn't just some random invention, right?
No, not at all. It came straight from the mind of the legend himself, Bob Moog.
Oh, okay.
It debuted back in 1998, part of that original Moogerfooger series.
Right, the Moogerfoogers, I remember those. They were Bob Moog's way of packing modular synth power into stomp boxes, basically for instrumentalists.
Exactly, and that was the genius, really. Bob Moog's intention was to kind of democratize those incredible, often complex sounds that before then were pretty much exclusive to people with big, expensive modular systems.
Right.
He wanted to put that power into the hands of, more musicians, guitarists, keyboard players, producers, making that deep sound design stuff practical and, importantly, portable.
That was a huge deal back then.
Oh, absolutely. It was groundbreaking, but also a significant engineering challenge,
Yeah.
How do you distill the essence of a room-sized synth into a little pedal without losing its soul?
Yeah.
And that's what the Moogerfoogers really achieved.
And what a brilliant distillation it was. He wasn't just making another effects box. Bob Moog actually put two of his absolute favorite sonic concepts together in the MF-102. First, there was classic analog ring modulation, which fundamentally multiplies two signals. And second, he built in an onboard low-frequency oscillator, an LFO, which is so key for adding movement, creating those sweeps and tremolo effects.
Yeah, that specific combo really speaks to Moog's whole legacy of innovation. And the MF-102 wasn't just for one instrument. It was designed right from the start for a huge range. Guitars, synths, keyboards, you name it, plus all kinds of experimental sound design work.
You mentioned ring modulation multiplies signals. Can you break that down a bit more?
Yeah.
How does that create those unique sounds?
Sure, so think of it like this. Your instrument signal goes in, and the MF-102 has its own internal sound source, a carrier wave. Ring modulation literally multiplies those two signals together. It doesn't just add them. And because of the math involved in multiplication, you don't get the original sounds back. Instead, you get two completely new frequencies. One is the sum of the original two frequencies, and the other is their difference.
Sum and difference. That's where those weird harmonics come from.
Exactly. That's precisely why you get those distinctive, often dissonant, metallic overtones. It's like, imagine striking two tuning forks. You hear not just their individual pitches, but these weird, complex beating frequencies between them.
Gotcha, like ghost frequencies.
Kind of, yeah. It's that sonic alchemy that makes ring modulation so unique.
Okay, we've touched on the vision, but let's get nerdy for a second.
Right.
What was actually under the hood? What made the MF-102 circuit so special compared to other effects back then?
Well, it all starts with the core. A true analog ring modulator circuit. That's the heart of it. This is what takes your input audio and does that multiplication with the internal carrier oscillator we just talked about. That's what gives you those characteristic bell-like chimey tones.
And the fact it was analog is important.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial. It's a huge part of why it has that renowned warmth, that harmonic richness, and that organic, really responsive feel that honestly, digital emulations often still struggle to completely nail.
Okay, so the analog circuit is key. What else?
Then you've got the carrier oscillator itself, and this is where a ton of the magic happens. It's incredibly versatile, its frequency range is continuously variable, and it goes from incredibly slow rates, like almost down to silence, 0.6 hertz.
Well, that low.
Yeah, which gives you this amazing tremolo effect, all the way up past 4 kilohertz into really high audio territory.
So that range is what gives it so much flexibility.
Exactly. At those super low frequencies, the ring mod inherently creates this rhythmic volume change, a natural, really organic tremolo, without even needing the LFO. It's the ring mod doing double duty.
Interesting.
But then you push it up towards 4 kilohertz and beyond, and it just transforms your signal into this pure, dissonant, metallic clangor. It's wild.
And then there's the LFO you mentioned earlier.
Right, the independent low-frequency oscillator. And it's not just any LFO. It can generate either smooth sine waves or more abrupt square waves, giving you different modulation character.
Okay.
Its main job is to modulate that carrier frequency, adding movement and dynamism to the ring mod effect itself. Its range is from zero point 0.1 hertz, really slow, glacial sweeps up to 25 hertz, which is getting into rapid, almost stuttering territory.
So you can create these really complex, evolving sounds.
Precisely. Sounds that breathe and shift over time in really interesting ways.
Okay, let's look at the pedal's face then. The controls seem pretty straightforward but powerful. You've got frequency, that's the carrier tone, right?
Yep, that sets the fundamental pitch of the carrier oscillator.
Then LFO amount. That sounds like more than just depth.
It really is. It's like dialing in how much life or movement you want, from a really subtle shimmer that you barely notice all the way to a, violent rhythmic chop.
Right, and LFO rate is just the speed of that chop or shimmer.
Correct. Slow waves to frantic pulses.
Mix seems vital, blending the original sound with the effect.
Absolutely essential. You can go from fully dry to fully wet, or find that perfect blend where the original tone still pokes through the modulation. Gives you loads of control over how present the effect is.
And finally, drive and output level for gain staging, making sure the signal hits the circuit right and comes out at the right volume.
Exactly. The drive lets you add a bit of analog warmth or even push it into some nice saturation or mild overdrive before the ring mod circuit. Output level just matches it to the rest of your gear. Proper gain staging is key with these analog pedals.
But one thing really set the Moogerfoogers apart, didn't it? The connectivity.
Oh, absolutely. That was a huge part of their appeal, especially for synth players or
Yeah.
more experimental setups. The CV inputs control voltage inputs.
All right, tell us about those.
Well, these jacks allowed you to connect the MF102 to modular synths or other Moogerfoogers or even just a simple expression pedal.
So you could control things without touching the knobs.
Precisely. You could dynamically control parameters like the carrier frequency or the LFO rate or the mix amount using an external voltage source. Imagine controlling the ring mod pitch with a foot pedal sweep or syncing the LFO to your sequencer.
Wow, okay. That opens up a whole world of possibilities.
It really did. It elevated it way beyond a typical stomp box. It became like a mini module you could integrate into a larger system.
And it still had standard audio jacks, too.
Oh yeah, standard quarter-inch audio in and out. And importantly, it was designed to handle both line-level signals from synths or studio gear and instrument-level signals straight from a guitar or bass. Very flexible.
Okay, we've gone through the brain behind it, looked inside the circuits. But the real question is, what does it sound like? Let's try and paint a picture of that sonic palette.
It's legendary for just how broad and evocative it is. You start at those lowest carrier frequencies, like we mentioned, near 0 hertz.
Tremolo zone.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it's not just a simple on-off volume chalk. It's got this three-dimensional depth, a really nuanced, shimmering pulse that feels incredibly organic, adds this lovely, almost woody texture.
Okay, nice. What happens when you turn that frequency knob up?
Right, move the carrier up into audio frequencies, and suddenly your guitar or whatever you plug in isn't quite itself anymore. It can become like a massive cathedral bell ringing with these really complex metallic harmonics.
The bell tones.
Yeah, or like a set of tuned gongs. You get those distinct, shimmering, bell-like and metallic sounds. They're harmonically rich, often quite dissonant in a really interesting way. Catches the ear.
Definitely. And what about pushing it even higher?
Well, that's where things get really weird and wonderful, those ultra-high carrier frequencies. That's where the truly alien textures live.
Alien, robotic, sci-fi sound.
Totally. Your simple synth pad can morph into like a menacing robot trying to communicate, or maybe the sound of a spaceship's engine groaning as it goes into warp speed. It's incredibly evocative, takes your instrument places you wouldn't expect.
And the LFO adds another layer on top of all that.
Yeah, exactly. With that independent LFO modulating the carrier frequency, you can introduce these rhythmic pulsations, sometimes almost biological sounding. It makes these already strange sounds evolve and undulate in ways that feel really alive, often quite unpredictable. It's a true sonic shapeshifter.
That really is the revelation, isn't it? This pedal has such an incredible split personality. On one hand, it's cherished for that organic, undeniable analog warmth. It can add subtle depth and movement. But flip a few knobs, and suddenly it's this portal to some of the most extreme, otherworldly, frankly bizarre sounds you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's amazing how one single box could cover that much ground. From a gentle throb to a chattering robot. It's just a testament to brilliant design, really.
Absolutely.
So let's track its journey then, its place in history. The MF-102 had a pretty long run, didn't it, from 1998?
All the way to 2018. Yeah, a solid 20 years in its original form, always in that classic, instantly recognizable wood-sided enclosure. That look became totally synonymous with the Moogerfooger line.
All right, those wooden cheeks.
And its discontinuation in 2018, along with the rest of that beloved Moogerfooger series. Well, that really created a stir in the music community.
Yeah, I remember people were pretty upset.
Oh, definitely. You could feel a genuine sense of loss, almost. And what happened immediately was the secondhand market just exploded.
Prices shot up.
Massively. And stayed high. Suddenly, these pedals weren't just tools anymore. They were becoming these sought-after artifacts, collectibles almost, cemented their status as classics, especially for people who really understood what they could do.
But the story didn't quite end there, did it, thankfully?
No, exactly. Fast forward to 2022, and we saw the MF-102 make a comeback, but in a different form.
As part of the Moogerfooger Effects plugins collection.
That's right, official Moog digital versions. They faithfully recreated the MF-102 and its siblings as software plugins for your DAW, your recording software.
Which is great for accessibility, right?
Yeah.
Keeps the sound alive for a new generation.
Totally. It's a fantastic way to do it. And over the years, it really has achieved this kind of cult classic status, especially among musicians who are more experimental, more adventurous, always trying to push sonic boundaries.
Yeah.
Its unique character just made it indispensable if you wanted to inject something truly original, maybe a bit unpredictable, into your music. It definitely inspired countless tracks and sound designs that just might not exist otherwise.
And thinking about its legacy, you can point to some pretty big names who embraced it, can't you?
Oh, for sure. You think of sonic architects like Johnny Greenwood and Ed O'Brien from Radiohead.
Of course.
They famously had Moogerfoogers all over their live rigs, really helped craft those distinctive, often unsettling but beautiful textures that are just so Radiohead.
Absolutely. Who else?
Well, someone like Nels Cline from Wilco, he's known for weaving the MF-102 into his kind of avant-garde guitar playing, creating these immersive soundscapes and really unpredictable sonic bursts, makes his playing instantly recognizable.
Yeah, you get some wild sounds.
Definitely. And then, of course, Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails.
Yes. Master of industrial tones.
Exactly. He used ring modulation to add that grit, that metallic clang, those complex rhythmic layers to his already really dense sonic palette.
Makes sense.
And beyond those big names, it just found this broad appeal among electronic musicians, producers, anyone who loved its ability to generate sounds that were unpredictable, harmonically rich, and just really captivating.
So when we put it all together,
Yeah.
how should we think about the MF-102's place in music tech history? Why is it more than just, another cool effects pedal?
I think it really comes down to the fact that the MF-102 is widely seen as one of the most musical and versatile ring modulators ever made. That's key.
Musical, not just weird.
Right. It could do weird, absolutely, but it could also be subtle and beautiful. And that combination of the pure analog circuitry plus those extensive CV control options we talked about, all guided by Bob Moog's design philosophy, that really set it apart. There were simpler ring mods out there, sure, but none really offered that same depth of interaction, that sonic complexity, or just that sheer musicality. It let you truly interact with the sound, shape it in real time.
You mentioned that analog warmth earlier. It's something people always talk about with Moog gear. But with today's digital plugins being so good, Moog's own included,
Yeah.
do you think there's still a truly undeniable sonic difference? Or is some of the hardware obsession maybe nostalgia?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's something musicians debate endlessly. Yeah. And honestly, digital emulations have come an incredibly long way. Moog's own plugins are exceptionally good, really faithful, but for many people, myself included, there's still something intangible about the original hardware. Maybe it's the subtle non-linearities in the analog components, the way the circuit breathes or reacts slightly differently depending on how hard you hit it.
The feel factor.
Yeah, the feel, the bloom of an analog envelope, maybe even just the physical act of turning those big, solid knobs. It encourages a different kind of interaction, maybe pushes you to play differently. It feels less like programming and more like playing an instrument itself.
A symbiotic relationship, kind of.
That's a good way to put it.
And that definitely leads straight into its collectability now. Those original wood-sided units,
Yeah.
they fetch serious money on the used market.
Oh, yeah. They're not just pedals. They're pieces of history. Valued by collectors, sure, but also by working musicians who want that specific sound and perhaps that specific interactive experience we just talked about.
That unique, almost living quality.
Exactly. But, and this is the really great part, while the original hardware is prized, those digital Moogerfooger plugins mean its legacy isn't locked away in the past.
Right.
Its unique, powerful sound is still accessible. A whole new generation of musicians and producers who might never get their hands on a vintage unit can still experience it, use it, be inspired by it.
It bridges the gap.
It really does.
Yeah.
Allowing the MF-102's influence to keep going, keep inspiring, keep evolving, whatever the format.
And that really brings us towards the end of this deep dive into the Moog Moogerfooger MF-102 ring modulator.
Oh.
What a journey, huh? From its origins with Bob Moog, through its ingenious design to its incredible sonic range.
It's quite a story.
It really stands as this monumental bridge, doesn't it? Between classic analog sound design and the kind of flexible, expansive thinking of modular synthesis. We've heard how this one box with its clever carrier oscillator and that versatile LFO could take you from the most gentle organic tremolo
To those harsh metallic clangs.
and right out into completely wild sci-fi textures. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many iconic sounds we love might not even exist without gear like this, pushing artists into new territory.
Yeah, pushing boundaries they didn't even know were there.
It's just such a testament to the enduring power of genuinely groundbreaking design. You know, think about how a single piece of hardware designed decades ago is still inspiring people, still influencing how sound is made, whether it's in the analog world or the digital one.
Yeah.
It really proves that truly innovative sounds, truly innovative ideas, they're never really forgotten, are they? They just get reimagined, rediscovered, re-embraced by new generations.
Well said.
Until next time, keep exploring those sonic possibilities.